My beloved child, I welcome you with the warmth of heaven and the comfort of the Spirit of God. This message is not for your ears alone. It is for your heart, for your soul, and for the very depths of your being. God says, do not miss this. Your soulmate's heart is breaking for you, and it cries out in ways you cannot see, in ways you may not even understand, but heaven has heard it, and heaven has carried it into your spirit that you may know what God is showing you. You have been asking questions in the silence of your nights. You have been wondering why the bond feels so heavy, why your chest feels pressed with a longing you cannot put into words. God says it is because the one tied to your destiny, the one written into your life, is hurting. And that hurt flows through the invisible cord that binds you together. You may feel restless without cause. You may wake up in tears, not knowing why. You may sense an ache in your heart as though it were not your own. This is the echo of your soulmate's brokenness. Do not turn away from this tug in your spirit. Do not close your ears to this whisper from heaven. God says your soulmate is reaching for you, even when their lips are silent, even when their pride holds them back, even when fear grips them. Their heart is still crying out for you. There is a part of them that cannot find peace until it finds you, and God does not want you to miss this. God says, every time you thought it was over, every time you thought the story had ended, every time you told yourself to move on, it was not you speaking, it was your pain. But the divine truth is that heaven still holds the thread. Heaven still keeps the bond, and heaven still stirs the connection in ways beyond your understanding. You are not hearing this by accident. You are not here because you clicked a video or scrolled by chance. You are here because the Spirit of God wants to tell you the truth, that you are part of a sacred plan, and that your soulmate, who may be silent, who may be distant, who may be confused, is still deeply bound to you. Their heart is breaking because they have not found rest without you. Listen closely, because this moment is a moment of revelation. This is the moment God chose to bring light to what has been hidden. As you listen, I ask you to give yourself fully to this message. Give your heart, give your focus, because what God is saying is for your healing, your clarity, and your strength. And my beloved, before I go further, let me remind you to subscribe to this channel, because this journey is not meant to be walked alone. The words that are being poured here are seeds of guidance, and each one carries light for your path. Do not miss the next revelation. Do not allow the noise of life to steal what heaven is giving you. Take a moment to subscribe and stay in alignment with the voice that is carrying you forward. God says, do not miss this, because every tear that has been shed, every silent prayer that has been whispered, every dream that has awakened you in the night is connected to the one who is tied to your purpose. You are not forgotten, and neither is the one who belongs with you. Their heart is breaking for you, and though they may not speak it aloud, though they may not show it with their actions, though they may even pretend to move on, God sees deeper than appearances. God hears deeper than words. And God knows the truth, that the cry of their heart still calls your name. My beloved child, let your heart settle into the stillness of this moment and receive these words as if they were a lamp placed gently into your palm. God is speaking, not in a loud clamor, but in patient tenderness. And what he says now reaches into places you thought were closed forever. Hear this truth as if it were the very air you breathe. Your soulmate is broken, and in that breaking, there is a message meant for you. A message that will shape how you move forward and how you show up in love. You may be wondering how someone so connected to you could be so far from themselves. How a heart that once beat in sync with yours could now stumble through days heavy with regret and doubt. God says the reason is not to punish you or to cast blame. It is to awaken compassion within you. Compassion is the medicine that will cross the distance. Compassion does not excuse what was wrong, but it builds a bridge where walls once stood. When you understand this, you will begin to see their pain, not as a threat, but as a call to greater strength and tender courage. There are moments when your mind will try to protect you by sharpening your defenses. It will whisper the names of every wound and replay every mistake. But God wants you to choose another way to respond. Choose the way that rises from wisdom and holiness rather than from hurt and anger. Let the light of God teach you to move with clarity, not confusion, to speak with truth, not vengeance, and to forgive where forgiveness will free you, but not to allow forgiveness to become a door through which harm returns. Let God be your discerner, and let His love outline the boundaries that keep you safe while keeping your heart open enough to heal what needs healing. Do not be ashamed of the tears you have shed. Do not hide the nights of wondering why you were not enough or why things fell apart. God says those tears are not wasted. They are a river that purifies and prepares you for what is to come. A heart that has known sorrow becomes soft in all the places that once hardened. It becomes capable of a deeper tenderness and a truer connection. When your soulmate is breaking, it is not a sign that the bond is ending, but often a sign that the bond is being refined. It is as though God has set a gentle fire around the impurities, so that what remains will be stronger and more enduring. Listen to the small voice within that says, do not walk away. Do not settle for silence. Do not allow pride to be the final word in your story. There will be times when pride will urge you to leave an empty space where communication could have been restored. But God calls you to a higher path, which is humility, not self-abandonment. Humility is not weakness. It is an act of courage that says, I will remain true to my values and to the love that matters most, even when it feels costly. Humility places truth before ego, and God honors such courage by moving behind the scenes to realign heart. Practical steps are not cold in God's economy. They are acts of obedience to the voice that leads you gently forward. First, guard your inner life. Nurture your relationship with God through prayer, meditation, and reflection. This will not only steady you, it will also illuminate the right times to speak and the right ways to act. Second, choose your words carefully when you do speak. Let your words be plain and honest, free from accusation. Speak of how you feel, not to place blame, but to invite healing. Speak with clarity and with a posture of restoration rather than attack. Third, show up with consistent deeds. Small things done faithfully over time rebuild trust more than grand gestures ever could. Arrive when you say you will arrive. Keep promises whether they are big or small. There will be seasons of confusion when their actions do not match their words, when they move in steps forward and then fall back again. Know that God sees these oscillations and that healing is not linear. Be patient, but not passive. Allow God to reveal the boundaries that protect you while still allowing space for their growth. Be wise about timing. Do not be so eager that you swallow red flags and ignore the lessons you have learned, and do not be so rigid that you refuse to acknowledge genuine change when it appears. Change that is consistent over time bears the fruit of sincerity. Your prayers for them are powerful. Do not underestimate the impact of a heart lifted in intercession. God hears those prayers and He answers them in ways that are sometimes immediate and sometimes in a long unfolding that refashions destinies. Begin to pray with clarity. Pray for the softening of their defenses. Pray for the truth to come to light. Pray for healing, to unbind whatever knots of fear and shame hold them captive, but most of all, pray for your own eyes to see clearly and for your own heart to remain anchored to God's truth, so that you will not be swept away by emotions alone as you navigate this sacred and painful terrain. Be careful of patterns from the past that reappear in new forms. Do not allow history to dictate your future. Identify the lessons you have been given, and let those lessons guide you rather than haunt you. Name the behaviors that have caused harm and refuse to normalize them. Insist on integrity, but temper your insistence with compassion, because only with both will you steward the possibility of restoration. There will come a time when you must choose whether to stay or to move forward without them, and God will give you wisdom to make that decision when your soul is ready. Do not rush it, and do not delay it. Either be tender with yourself in the waiting and bold when the moment for action arrives. Remember that choosing to leave is not always a failure. Sometimes it is the bravest act of faith when the season has passed and when staying only permits continued harm. Choosing to leave can be an act of liberation and trust that God will restore all that was lost in ways you cannot yet imagine. In the quiet hours, let these truths sink deep into you. You are not the author of their choices. You are the steward of your heart, and God will guide your steps as you remain faithful to Him and to your calling. Love is not uniform. It looks different in different seasons. Sometimes love protects by distancing itself, and sometimes love saves by staying present through the struggle. Learn to discern the difference and listen to the whisper of God that will always lead you toward life. And now, my beloved, as the Spirit continues to speak through this message, hold to this unshakable truth. God has not forgotten you nor your soulmate. The breaking is not the end unless you allow it to be the end. God is still weaving redemption into the fabric of your story, even in the places that feel most torn. Trust that process. Trust that the ache you feel is part of a greater movement toward healing and reconciliation, or toward a higher freedom. If reconciliation is not possible, God's heart is with you in both outcomes. Receive these words as a balm and let them form the next chapter of how you love and how you live. If you would like, I will continue now with part 3. And carry this message deeper into the places of restoration and destiny. My beloved child, lean into this moment because God is stretching the borders of your heart to make room for understanding that runs deeper than the surface. God says, do not miss this, for the cries of your soulmate's heart are not small. They echo in heaven, they ripple into your spirit, and they stir you. Even when you try to silence them, you feel the weight of emotions that you cannot explain. You feel the sudden sadness that is not yours. You feel the longing that comes uninvited, and you wonder why it will not leave. God says it is because their heart is breaking, and that breaking is tied to your journey. When God weaves destinies together, He creates a bond that distance cannot sever, a bond that misunderstanding cannot erase. A bond that fear cannot permanently break. You may not see it with your eyes. You may not hear it with your ears, but your soul feels it. And that is why you cannot walk away without carrying some part of them in you. Your soulmate has tried to deny it. They have tried to numb it. They have tried to live without you, but their heart keeps returning to the same place. Because God has written your name into the very chambers of their being. This breaking that you sense is not just pain. It is transformation. The soul is often remade in the fire of its breaking, and your soulmate is being broken so they can be remolded. You may not recognize who they are right now because they are caught in the storm of their undoing, but God is not destroying them. God is rebuilding them piece by piece, stripping away the pride that made them resist, stripping away the distractions that blinded them, stripping away the fears that kept them from stepping fully into the love that was always meant for them. Do not misinterpret this season. You may think it is silence, but in heaven it is movement. You may think it is distance, but in truth, it is alignment. You may think it is rejection, but in God's eyes, it is preparation. Your soulmate is not lost. They are being led, and their breaking is the sound of chains snapping, the sound of lies losing power, the sound of illusions crumbling. Their tears are seeds and their cries are offerings. They may not know it, but heaven knows it. You may ask God, why do I feel so much? Why do I carry their pain when it is not mine? God says, because you are one in ways you do not yet fully comprehend. When they hurt, the connection sends the vibration into your spirit. When they long for you, their longing echoes into your chest. When they are restless, you wake in the middle of the night sensing their unrest. This is not to overwhelm you, but to remind you that the bond is divine, and it will not be erased by silence. And God says to you, do not give up on love, because of what you see now. Do not define the whole story by the present chapter. You are in God's timing, is not man's timing. And though the waiting feels endless, though the uncertainty presses on your chest, though the not knowing becomes unbearable, God is faithful, and the plan is unfolding when you least expect it. Clarity will come, breakthrough will happen, and what once was confusion will stand revealed as divine order. The heart of your soulmate is breaking because they know they have delayed. They know they have resisted. They know they have failed to honor the bond that heaven placed before them. But their breaking is not punishment. It is awakening. They are being awakened to the truth that nothing else satisfies. Nothing else heals. Nothing else fulfills except the connection that God destined for them. They can try to fill the void with others. They can try to bury it in work. They can try to numb it with distractions. But the truth remains. Their soul is restless until it rests in love that was designed by heaven. And my beloved child, do not mistake your patience for wasted time. Your waiting has not been in vain. Every tear you have cried has been gathered by God. Every lonely night has been written into His book. Every prayer whispered in silence has been answered. Even if you do not yet see the manifestation, God has been shaping you too. While shaping them, your growth has not been still. You have been learning strength, learning faith, learning endurance, learning to love not from neediness but from fullness. God says, when the time comes, you will not enter this bond broken. You will not enter this bond desperate. You will not enter this bond incomplete. You will enter whole, and when two whole hearts meet, the union becomes unshakable. And that is what God is preparing you for. You are being refined in your solitude, just as your soulmate is being refined in their breaking. The fire is uncomfortable, the silence is heavy, but the fruit of it will be worth every moment. Listen carefully, my beloved, because this is not just about romance. This is about destiny. Your connection is tied to greater things than you alone. It is tied to the work you will do together, the lives you will touch together, the legacy you will leave together. And that is why the warfare has been so intense, because the enemy does not fight what is small. He fights what is great. He attacks what has purpose, and your union has purpose that reaches beyond your imagination. This is why you must not allow bitterness to take root. This is why you must not allow despair to blind you. This is why you must not allow impatience to make you settle for less than what God has ordained, because the promise is too great to lose to doubt. Your soulmate's heart is breaking, but that breaking is the doorway to humility. And once humility enters the door, love can grow in soil that is pure. You are not alone in this season. Heaven is with you. God is with you. Angels are stationed around you even now. And though you may feel the ache of distance, know that God is nearer than your breath, and He is holding both you and your soulmate in His hands, weaving together a story that will glorify Him when the pieces fall into place. Hold fast. My beloved child, do not lose heart for the breaking. You sense is not the end. It is the beginning. And though it may feel long and weary, God's timing will prove perfect when the dawn finally breaks. You will see that every tear, every ache, every moment of wondering was not wasted, but was weaving you into the love that is both destiny and promise. My beloved child, lean closer, because this moment is sacred and God is asking you to give your full attention. He says, do not miss this. Your soulmate's heart is breaking for you. And if you could hear the cries of their spirit, if you could feel the weight they carry, you would know how deeply the bond is still alive. You may see their silence, you may see their absence, you may see their distance, but God sees their tears. God hears their prayers. God feels their ache, and it is being echoed into your own heart. You wonder why you feel heavy in the middle of the night, why you wake with tears that you cannot explain, why you feel a longing that presses on you without warning. God says, it is because the heart of the one tied to your destiny is not at peace without you. There is a cord that heaven tied, and no matter how much they fight it, no matter how much they run from it, no matter how much they try to bury it, that cord remains, and it pulls on them until they cannot ignore it. Their breaking is not just sadness, their breaking is awakening. God is using the cracks in their pride, the weight of their regrets, the silence of their lonely hours to awaken them to what has always been true. They may try to fill the emptiness with others, they may try to hide in distractions, they may pretend they are strong. But when the lights are off and the noise is gone, they know the truth. And the truth is that their heart is still bound to you. And God says to you, do not miss this season, for it is not wasted, though it feels long, though it feels heavy, though it feels lonely. It is not empty. Your prayers are watering their spirit. Your love is softening their walls. Your endurance is teaching you patience. And God is shaping both of you at once. You are not waiting in vain. You are being prepared for a love that will be built on truth, on humility, and on faith. You must remember, beloved child, that the pain you feel is not weakness. It is proof that you are alive to the bond God designed for you. Numbness is easy, but love requires courage. Love requires patience. Love requires endurance. And God is showing you that your capacity for love is greater than you knew. Do not allow bitterness to poison you. Do not allow fear to silence you. Do not allow despair to blind you. Keep your heart open, not to harm, not to repeating cycles, but to the possibility of redemption. For God is the author of redemption. And what man breaks, He can restore. What fear delays, He can accelerate. What pride resists, He can humble. Your soulmate's breaking is producing humility in them. They are learning that they cannot find peace without facing the truth. They are learning that the connections they chose outside of God's plan cannot last. They are learning that destiny is not something you can outrun. Their heart is breaking, but their breaking is softening them and making them ready. And my beloved, before I carry this further, let me remind you to subscribe to this channel, for what God is releasing here is not for one moment alone. It is a journey, and every word is part of a larger picture. What you hear today will connect with what you hear tomorrow. Do not let yourself drift away when heaven is feeding you. Stay connected. Stay aligned and allow every seed of truth to take root in your spirit. God says, when the time comes, the reunion will not just be about love, it will be about purpose. The two of you will not simply comfort one another. You will strengthen one another. You will build together. You will heal others together. Your story will not just be for your own joy, it will be for the glory of God. And that is why the warfare has been so strong. The enemy fears what will happen when the two of you stand side by side. But no enemy can overturn what God has written. No curse can erase what God has blessed. No delay can cancel what God has destined. Your tears are not wasted. Your waiting is not empty. Your soulmate's breaking is not the end. It is the sign that the old self is dying and the new is being born. Your faith has kept you through storms. Your patience has carried you through long nights. Your endurance has proven your love. And God says you will not be disappointed. You will not be left behind. You will not be forgotten. What you have carried in secret will be revealed. What you have prayed in silence will be answered. What you have endured in faith will be rewarded. Imagine, beloved child, the moment when clarity comes, when the words you have longed to hear are finally spoken, when the walls crumble and the truth is confessed. Imagine the embrace that heals years of silence. Imagine the tears that will no longer be bitter but will flow with joy. This is what God is preparing you. For this is why you cannot give up. This is why you cannot lose hope. And yet God says, even if the story does not unfold as you pictured, even if the path takes turns you did not expect, even if their choices delay the promise, do not fear, for God's love for you is greater than any human weakness. His plan for you is wider than any one person. His destiny for you is secure, and you will not be left without love, without purpose, without fulfillment. You are held, beloved. You are carried. You are seen. Heaven has not ignored you. Heaven has not delayed without reason. Every step is ordered. Every tear is counted. Every prayer is heard. God is weaving the story, and the breaking you feel now will one day be the testimony you share. So rest in this truth. Your soulmate's heart is breaking for you, but God is mending both of you at once. Their breaking will lead them home. Your endurance will keep you strong, and in the end, what was written cannot be unwritten, and what God began, He will surely complete. My beloved child, hold fast. Let your faith rise. Do not miss what God is saying to you now, for the dawn is closer than it feels, and the love you long for is already moving toward you.